welcome to another night of Crowns and Crows. Dragging here with Lakes this week. Welcome back, sir.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
What's up, guys?
Little subdued Valor with us as always. We want to apologize for last week. We had some technical difficulties. We actually did some sound testing beforehand, so it actually should work. Now let's get down to the rundown. We got some updates here. We're almost ready to fund the Half-Breed Assassin. I just don't know what it's a half-breed with. That's kind of weird. There might be some lore there. I haven't just read it, though, so maybe Valor can help us out with lore later on. The next stretch goal will be a QA lead, which is very, very important. And then apparently we got about 20 grand worth of T-shirts sold over the last month or so, which is really cool. Part of that's mine. I got my new T-shirt on going out, rocking it. Now let's talk about the topics. We've had two different updates. We talked about scaling up with the Founders Patch and what's next, which we're going to sink our teeth into. Some really good show fodder for us coming up. And we got a big, nice patch notes from the 18th that we'll kind of go over. I think a couple announcements at the top of the show we want to talk about. We're probably not going to have a show for the next 2 weeks, I don't think. 2 weeks from now, I will have a family vacation. It's the week of October 4th. And next week, I will be in Vegas on business. Unfortunately, not pleasure, but business.
It's business.
Business. So I will be away. I won't even be able to do a hotel show next Tuesday.
I'm gonna see what I can do.
Maybe.
I'm gonna see what I can do. I'm gonna see what if I can get something set up that's fun and interesting for next Tuesday.
How about this? We could maybe do like a 20-minute show next Tuesday via my cell phone on Skype.
I don't.
I'll do it out front.
Dude, I have a feeling should be something like this, like selfie recorded, right? You're like running around, and it's like, what's the movie with like Mr. Cho and
Hangover?
They get fucked up. Yeah, Hangover, bro. Like the beginning part of Vegas, and Dragon will just be there, like, hey, what's up, guys?
Table, like I'm hungover because I've already been there for 2 days. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Other than that, again, we want to apologize for last week's show. That wasn't very good, I don't think. We had some technical difficulties for about 20 minutes. We started.
You keep saying we.
What? We? Yes.
We. You keep saying we.
As the show had.
I hosted it. No problems. All I'm saying.
Not going to even talk about the 30 minutes of help that you guys had beforehand.
Oh well, we have fun with it.
For sure. Move this up here. And is Twitch chat not working? That's not a good thing. But in any case, let's get on to the update from. There we go. There's Twitch chat. Let's go over the update from the 16th, which was basically the day after our show, which was actually a pretty good one. It was basically all about scaling up. I'm going to find it here, bringing it up. We learned a couple good points coming from it. Let's see, the scaled up from hundreds of players from basically 10. That's why we had lots of different players coming in, new players coming in because they needed people. They had flash tests and versus schedule tests, so there's new things coming over for the next week. They're working on performance, and we got that's where the T-shirt update come from. Valor, you wanna comment any of this? Anything interesting that you found here, other than the number of players that they're going to have at the same time that they kind of scaled up to?
Well, one of the things that everyone was really concerned about is, they started off with, I want to say the first test they tried doing up to like 49 people on a map, and then scaled it down to 35, and then got even a little bit lower than that for a little while, 24, I think. And so, knowing that, here they are, they've got multiple maps going simultaneously, they can get, 100-ish people, maybe some more, actually playing the game at the same time. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good improvement from where they started, and what clearly they outlined the things that they wanted to work on with this combat test, and everyone's like, oh, combat test. It's like, well, yeah, but they're using combat to test. It's not necessarily we're just testing our combat. So, I think that
should we stress what they're actually trying to test at this point, or at least what we think they're actually testing, because they're not testing balance or mechanics. They're basically testing, does the engine break when you do shit?
Yeah,
they need a little game to do it, I think.
Yeah, and I thought I had a some list of things like this is what they're going to be working on.
Was it from Wikipedia?
No. 10 updates. They had updates on what they're specifically looking on or looking for. But I mean, you also think like they made a lot of improvements on even just visual testing. It wasn't just engine client testing. They made a lot of visual improvements as for skills and stuff like that. So they are adjusting it, and they're not really messing with, like you said, the balance, but they're making the skills work. And they're trying to make sure what they have in place is actually working. Because when you have the baseline code in place for a lot of different things, it's very easy to transition and plug and play with numbers to bring in new champion or new archetypes and all that.
Let me give you. This is the first.
Right here.
Well, what I was going to say is, this is the first thing. This is what they said. The things that they want to test with. They're calling it pre-alpha combat test 1, patching, login, character lobby, god crests, grouping. Do teams work? Right. Containers, inventory. I mean, we're talking. They're not really testing combat. They're testing all of this stuff, but to keep people engaged.
They're testing combat, but
of course. But I mean,
blocks of combat.
Yeah, I mean,
how does collision work?
They have a list of, I want to say, like 15 things here, and melee and ranged combat is
the really cool thing
12 of 15.
We got from Tommy B was the I forget the developer term for it, but essentially your model when you're attacking. We showed a picture of the knight, and it was basically a capsule around him. That's basically his physical borders, and then he had like a big rectangle in front of him. So basically, when two people came together, they would stick together, like moving two rectangles next to each other. And they're kind of they're okay with it for now, but they said that they're going to be tweaking the shape. And that's basically how they're going to use physics when players come together. Because if you don't do that properly, let's say you use two circles, you start coming together, and as the players are bashing, they start. If you press forward enough and the equal weight, they're going to start just sliding around each other, like you would imagine two pieces of soap kind of sliding around each other. So there's a lot of cool things that they're working on, and I'm. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get on the forums and read every single feedback post. I've been kind of jumping in here and there, and they're really open with what they're doing, and the soup and nuts of all of it is all the dirty stuff that you never see is in there. And typically, developers like to dump all the dirty stuff after going 3 months of never saying anything, and people are clamoring for an update. They say, "Fine, here's the junk that we've been working on." Oh, isn't that exciting? It actually is exciting. I like how they're doing it in real time. It's nice. It's like we've been saying all along, the reality show of the development process is really awesome, I think.
Yeah.
Do you want to segue into the patch notes since we're talking about what they've been fixing?
I mean, yeah, we might as well. Yeah.
Guys, if you look in Slack, I've clicked the link for the patch notes if you don't have it up already. I think if we just go top to bottom, hopefully we can provide some kind of context. Unfortunately, a lot of the testing phases have been either A, during family dinner time, and my wife would kill me if I try to sneak down here at 5 o'clock in the evening to actually try to play. And the last late night testing phase, they were having some problems with the queue system, and I wasn't able to. That was last week's show. If you watched us live, you watched me stare at the login screen. And then when I finally got in, the latency was about like 10 seconds.
It was so effectively it was Blixted's fault. Good old Tommy B, as you call him.
Basically.
I mean, he more or less broke the show, broke the servers.
It's all his fault.
And you're bad, and you should feel bad.
All right, so let's do a. I wanted to do
that's the last time we ever had an ArtCraft developer watch the show.
Last week, I wasn't aware that they were actually putting out patch notes. I guess they did it once, and I missed that one feedback thread because it was probably about like 8 lines or so, I think.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
This is the thread from the September 18th test, and Pan posted a bunch of different patch notes. I want to make a suggestion to the guys out there. When you have patch notes, can we start a separate thread in the announcement section labeled patch notes with the date so I can pull them up easily?
Yeah.
Then instead of
rolling ticker.
You think I have time clicking on all these forum links? I have plenty other Reddits and forums to click on links with.
Well, and some of the stuff you expect to be in the news and announcements for testing.
Sure.
You actually have to get into the testing general discussion.
Yes.
It's great to have it there, but it's one of those things. I actually reached out to ArtCraft and I said, hey, do you guys have any plans for some RSS feeds here? Because, there's a couple of things that I think would be really useful. Come on, this is the sort of thing that, if you have this pinging, people can put that in their Slack servers, they can put that on their forums. This is the sort of stuff that allows ArtCraft to market without having to do anything. Oh, I know, right?
Okay, so let's go over the patch notes top to bottom here. Stamina regen pause reduced from 3 seconds to 4 seconds, so you get a little bit stamina back a little bit quicker. Combat stamina rate reduced from 9 every 2 seconds down from 12, so a little bit of a nerf.
Yep.
Me being a Legionnaire, I never really noticed it because my buttons never really work because I was so bad from New Jersey. So there it is. I guess that's the people that really notice that the most is probably the Knight with the blocking, I would imagine.
Yeah. Like what were you playing mostly when you had the opportunity to actually get in the test? What was the archetype that you were usually playing? Were you on the Confessor?
I was playing the Confessor the entire time, and I happened to play the Confessor back when apparently the ping was it was fixed, right? So I'm like really behind.
Yeah, I think so.
On updates. So back when I was playing with the Confessor at like anywhere from like 400 to 1,000 ping, which is fucking like it was hard.
Hey, play this ranged character.
But I still like killed a lot of people, bro. Like it was still easy. Like I really
people
enjoyed
like
it.
me couldn't move, so I wasn't really a moving target at that point. But
you're a big dumb horse anyway. So,
here's the thing. Like I thought it was bad. I assumed everybody's play was bad. But then I watched Ourwolf's stream. It's an excellent stream. I suggest going there because he's playing and streaming quite a bit, and he's very good at the game. And he gives great feedback, so you can follow the stream and follow his notes. But he was playing the Confessor, and he was like moving around, shooting people, and moving quick with the Knight and dodging stuff. I'm like, how do you have that responsiveness? So apparently, some people have good ping or latency. Some people like me do not. So it's interesting.
So I want to play now with the 50 to 200 ping. Like I would love to play the game now. So I haven't been able to. Like I've just been out of the loop. I've been there and haven't been able to play. And I get all these updates. So it's like I play Hawaii time zone. So it's like I just can't like leave in the middle of my lunch break to go and I'd love to do. But it's like the testing times are awful for me. And then like I'm just not available even in the afternoon. So it sucks. I really want to get in there and play it.
They need to do testing in the morning because then I'll be able to play.
Oh,
because when I'm at my
role.
No, because when I'm at home, my home office is when I could play during the day. So even if it was like at 1 o'clock, I could get on for an hour and play it. But when it's at like 5 Eastern, that's like kids are running around, it's time to cook dinner and all that other stuff. But I get it, because they want to have the test towards the end of the day. They still need to be in the office. So we're here to help them. They're not here to help us play the game.
What would be really cool is if I could just, like, install it on my work computer and play it there during lunch. Things that are not going to happen. However, I'm looking forward to... Well, I mean, hey, let's continue. Wait, are we still done? Are we done with the patch notes? Not even close.
Everybody
not
needs
even
a
close.
head start, okay?
Wow.
Give everybody a head start to learn the game, and then I'll come in later.
Yeah, there you go. Lake wants to make sure everyone has a fair shot at it. They get to enjoy the game before he actually jumps in on it.
Well, it's like day one, bro, and you guys stood no chance. So I have to give you guys.
God. I was sitting there like, mashing buttons.
All right. Patch notes. Out of combat, stamina regen was reduced down to 19 seconds from 24. I'm sorry. Rate was reduced from 24 down to 19. Dead characters will now only display a loot prompt if they have equipment, which is nice because the one game where I'm like, all right, I'm going to try looting everybody. No one had equipment on them, so I just wasted a lot of time. So that's a nice little quality of life change. Reduced campfire damage. That's terrible. That should hurt, and it can't crit. I never knew it could crit. That's great.
Should crit.
I'm pretty sure Tully just said I quit and left the studio. Once he got the fire, couldn't crit anymore.
Now Gordon, whenever he wants to go suicide, he has to like really try.
Wait longer.
He has to,
is he suiciding, or is he actually like not playing that well?
Since he's the man with the money, I'm just saying he means.
You know what? Our show is kind of predicated on their ability to put together a game. So I'm just gonna be nice. Gordon, you're a great guy. Thomas, pass that along. And
dude, Thomas and those guys, they make fun of him. Like they make fun of him on these YouTube videos, bro. Like I bet you
they can't because they have to make the game.
Yeah. Very true.
We just have a little video show on this thing called Twitch. Next one is the fix some bugs about characters getting stuck in the jumping falling animations, which is always a nice thing. Fixed resolution clipping, updated victory screens with improved UI experience. If you want, you can go to the thread and scroll down. It's got an interesting. There's a term for it as far as the UI kind of thing. It kind of wraps around kind of now instead of just being flat there. It kind of angled in. Nice little 3D kind of experience there. Looks kind of neat. I like it. Added Alt-Z support for hiding the HUD for better screenshots. All right, that's. I didn't even know screenshots. You couldn't undo the HUD. I figured that was already in there, but I never tried doing that. Improved responsiveness, hide and show scorecard. Updated combo prompts. Now highlight the chosen ability. It's nice that they highlight the ability, but do you ever look at your combo bar to know that that's the button to press? Because usually the chance is gone by the time you look down and notice that it's glowing.
Yeah, well, and what I came to realize as I was playing the Knight so much is that when I first started playing it, it was just, I was hitting so many different buttons, and I was like, oh, I just need to get the next key off, and I was so used to playing a traditional MMO where you cycle through all of your skills. And so, when it came to these combos, it's like you actually have to make sure you don't have to, but you watch, did you land your hit? Where is your next hit going to be? You don't want to waste it on empty space. And so it requires that patience and the extra coordination of making sure that you're landing these combos. And so, I started paying attention to combos so I could get the timing down, and then once I got the timing down, I really didn't need it anymore, and it just kind of becomes muscle memory of, oh, I want to go more damage, or I want to go more, control. So yeah, that's how I started, getting a better feel for the Knight at least.
Here's the picture of the screen here for those that are wondering, haven't had a chance to see it. Let's see, updated combo prompts. I'm assuming, I just read that, I'm assuming, and I haven't got a chance to test it, that it gives you a little bit more time to hit it, maybe? I don't know. Well, I'd have to test it. Implemented cooldown flashes, which are always nice. Fixed issue where sometimes you do not see all of your teammates' unit frames until the match began. That's kind of nice. Gonna need that. All right, so Confessor. You're out of the loop here, Lakes, but maybe you can add some context since I only played the Confessor once to kind of check it out. New Condemnation visual effects, adjusted hit radius to match, which is always nice, matching up graphics to the where you can hit. Confessor FOT mechanic adjustments. After 10 seconds, Flame of Truth will explode, dealing damage to all players around the target. Was that different from before? Is that Flames of Truth? Did I get that right? Lakes, do you remember?
I think so.
He's looking.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get caught up. Like, I didn't read any of this stuff, so it's like surprise. All right, so FOT.
We were working on getting GameVox set up. I don't know if you're paying attention. But yeah, we were working getting GameVox set up, and you're like, let's ask a question. Yeah, I'm not sure about which skill Flames of Truth is, but continue, Dragon, with your question.
Oh, I was going to say, you want to get caught up real quick, Lakes? We'll skip to the Legionnaire.
Sure, I'll read the Confessor. And you guys
drag me into the Crowns and Crows because you put a password on it again. By the way, on Gamebox. All right, well, we'll skip the Confessor, go back to the Legionnaire. Reduce each swing for Legionnaire's charge damage to 80, down from 220. See, I never noticed it did that much damage because I was never able to hit anybody with it, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Flames of Truth used to have a stun. It now just explodes damage. I guess that's the difference.
It's a delayed stun. Oh, yeah, that was the one where it'd create the tick and it would count down, I think, from 5 seconds or 4 seconds.
Was that the one that you could trigger early?
You just fall asleep. I don't know that you could trigger it early.
There's one combo where you could trigger it early.
Yeah, you could trigger. You could trigger the Flames of Truth early. Yep.
That explains a whole lot.
So
annoying as hell.
It was such a good skill, like for control and keeping, especially within like the close distance when the dome starts to close in and you're really in close quarters as a Confessor versus several Knights with CC and all that kind of stuff.
By the edge.
Like it's really, it's like you try to control that stun. So once you have it on, it gives you a lot of play with your dash ability to be able to micro stun in between your dashes and your escapes. So the explosion, I mean, maybe they thought the stun was too good, but I mean, let's face it, like it was great in the open. It was great when the Knight didn't have the advantage of kind of keeping you close and the dome coming like in on you. But out in the open, it was strong because you could kite for days. And that's where it was really strong. But, I mean, at the end, if you're a Knight and you're surviving, you're probably going to win, especially if you're grouped with something else and you're against one Confessor. You're probably going to win that fight.
Yeah, for sure. Here's one. When I was reading these patch notes earlier, the one thing I didn't quite understand was reduce velocity impulses on each swing, making more fluid experience for the caster and target. I'm assuming that's the fluidity of the animation, but I'm not too sure what velocity impulses are. Maybe Todd can explain that in chat as we continue on. But so I was kind of, I haven't had a chance to test, so I don't know what the before and after is. And this was what 4 days ago when this was put in. An added placeholder hit effects to all Legionnaire abilities. That's nice little feedback too when things connect. That's always good. The Knight had a maybe Val you could jump in on this one. Leap Smash now makes the caster immune to all damage and status effects during its duration. Is that is that's not their C ability, right?
That's a C ability.
Oh, it is.
So that's the one where you do your little Leap Smash. Is that what they call it? Yeah. That's the one where you do. That's where you do your spin and you come down. You pull everyone in. You deal damage. It is an amazing skill, and really the best Knights know when to use that skill, and that's really what will determine a good Knight from a bad Knight is when they're able to do that. If they're able to time that for when they're expecting the most damage to come in, it's a fantastic little skill. I really like how they've handled providing you get a few seconds of invulnerability.
Well, that's to physics, right? He was originally immune to physics during the duration. That's the iframe. Isn't that the iframe ability?
Yes, iframe ability.
Right.
You become immune to damage as well, if I recall. I'm pretty sure it's an immunity to everything.
Well, now it's immune. You're immune to damage and CC, basically.
Yeah, which you should have been from the beginning.
But it says now makes the caster immune to damage instead of status effects restoration.
Yeah, that explains it because I always felt like I was still taking damage.
Maybe no one was aiming at that.
You'd come down and you'd be asleep, and you're like, what is going on here? I wonder, it does not remove. It does not remove any sort of, like, for instance, the dot with the sleep at the end. I mean, does it remove CC as well if you were to cast it? I never got to really test that. I was usually too focused on, how much success I was having winning to test that.
Yes. Okay.
It does not remove it.
There you go. And here's basically on velocity. Velocity is value that add force to something which will push or pull a direction up or down, etc. So basically, I'm assuming during the animation, if the animation of a swing, maybe Thomas can tell me yes or no on this one. As you swing, so let's say a swing takes 1 second. Maybe originally there were 5 points during that swing, which will affect mass that it's touching. So beginning, halfway, and through. And now it does 3 points of reference: beginning, middle, and end, versus beginning, between the middle, another one, whatever. So maybe that's the case. Hope so. Okay, so Lake, so you ready for the Confessor? Are you refreshed?
Yes.
That's probably no, but we're going to go ahead with it anyway. Updated Hellfire Aura visual effects. We'll have. I don't remember what they look like or what this one does look like.
Well, they back in when I first played, I don't know if this was a hot fix that they did, but this Hellfire, the aura didn't actually look like really anything, so you didn't know that. On my screen, nothing.
Nothing. Oh, there was really. So there was, but it wasn't showing.
It was like faint. Yeah. That's the problem. Majority of the spells and the combination were so faint that you actually had to really pay attention to them to see them. And I think it was to not clog up your visual effects on other people's screens too. But it was just like, what is going on? I'm pushing a button. I don't really see it. But you had to look really hard at everything, and that was frustrating.
Did Keegan message anybody that he want to get on? Did you want to talk? Since we're trying to have a call-in show about Crowfall.
Yeah, I mean we've got people. They're on.
Did he message anybody? They're supposed to message you.
Yeah, he messaged me, and he would like to come on for testing.
For testing, well, for this topic that we're talking about.
For testing topic, yes.
Drag his ass in here. Let's go. I don't have passwords or anything. I don't know.
Oh, hey guys.
You were on,
There's
Keegan.
What's up,
Hey,
brother?
Keegan.
What's up, man? How you guys been?
Hey,
Chilling.
doing well.
We're doing a show. That's all.
Oh, that's it.
Hanging
Okay.
out. Yeah, you know.
Whatever. That's cool. I am so stoked about this whole thing because I finally got in Monday. That was the first time I got to
Congratulations, my
participate.
friend.
Lots of highs and lots of lows.
All right.
Oh,
well,
man,
before we
yeah.
get your impressions, I thought you wanted to talk about it. I want to finish the last couple lines of the patch notes.
Totally
wrap
cool.
that up, and then we'll go
Absolutely,
right
'cause
to
it-
what your feedback is, because that's important.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. So Hellfire Aura is now correctly removed during immolation. Hellfire Aura now correctly removed if players is stunned or knocked down, so therefore it's now controllable. So I'm assuming is if the Confessor gets knocked on her ass, the aura goes away. Is that true, Lakes? Is that I'm reading? Are we reading the same thing? Lakes cold stare.
No, sorry, I'm like reading it. Oh, fuck.
Is that your interpretation of it? That's my interpretation of it.
Yeah, so drops off when you get knocked down, stunned, or whatever. It's like it was a shield for a period of time. So I'm pretty sure like once you break the combination of that spell,
goes away?
like it goes away. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Confessor Sin has a max stack of 5.
Tell me that wasn't needed. I called that shit how long ago? I was like,
Reading.
yo, real talk, bro.
Let's go.
Yeah, real talk. Like everybody's stacking sin on one person, and then all of a sudden everyone just walks up. It's like, bam, dead, dead.
It happened. It happened.
Bang.
I guarantee. I know it happened for a fact.
Yep. Immolation now takes the caster immune to all damage and side effects during its duration. Explain that one to me, Lakes. Do you know what that does? That means? I'm sorry.
Sorry, repeat, dude. I'm sorry.
Last-
So everyone knows I'm like dealing with work stuff while here, so I was barely able to make it today. So
The last thing with Confessor, I gotta refresh my brain on immolation and how it actually works.
that was the
That's the ability.
the move the
If you ever see immune,
immunity.
yeah. If you ever see immune, it's the C ability, and that's their turret shooting a flamethrower.
So it seems like they just readjusted their iframe abilities, because the way that I read iframe abilities when they talked about it in the initial, they started, telling us their skills, was that they were immune to damage for a short period of time.
Yep,
right.
So it feels like that's just fixes
Yeah,
to
work.
what they, making their system that they already talked about work. Maybe they buffed the times on it as well. I don't know. I haven't played in a little while, so I haven't. But the iframe ability, you're still able to take damage, but it actually broke CCs. So that was one of the things that was good for the Confessor. But if I use that to actually dodge a lot of damage, like that's huge when it comes into being able to dodge out these stuns and keep your distance on some of these melee classes.
All right. So that were the patch notes from last Friday, and I know they had a test yesterday. I want to say, right? Was it yesterday at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock Central? So we'll see. We can read the feedback maybe for if we do a call-in show next week, Valor. Maybe we'll just do a podcast over Twitch. Just have one picture.
I mean, I'm going to research opportunities, and I'm going to see what we can do. And
I don't know what you're researching there, buddy. All right, Keegan.
Oh,
impressions.
oh.
Go ahead, my friend.
oh yeah, oh Keegan,
Oh
welcome.
yeah, it wasn't any class-specific thing, so I don't mind waiting if you guys want to finish that up.
Now we're going to talk about the last part of the show. We're going to talk about the future of testing. The update that came out, was it today that it came out?
Oh yeah, all that good stuff.
I forget. Go ahead. What'd you think? September 27th.
It was. I was so stoked to finally get in and just totally embrace the lag storm.
Yeah.
I really feel like I'm part of the community now. To be kicked out
You've
several
always
times.
been part of the community, bro.
No.
But-
I mean, that's expected, so I wasn't even sweating that stuff. It was just totally fun to get in, and
Do you have a T-shirt?
I understand.
Yeah, right?
Come on, dude. Do you have a T-shirt?
Yeah. Yes.
Let's go.
Okay. Oh.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Oh,
Sorry,
speaking of T-shirts, I'm sorry, Kagan, we're going to interrupt you yet
No,
again because
don't
that's the
shill
type
anything. Don't do
Yep.
it.
Nope. Here we go.
Do it.
All right. Which of us bought a Crowfall limited edition T-shirt?
Legs.
Draken. It's actually on screen right now.
So close.
You can see
so
it.
close.
Bro, I don't buy
understand where you're going
anything
with
unless it's a hat. Like I was
Yeah.
sitting here like
Waiting.
That's true.
tyrants, like, yo,
That's
Lakes,
true.
chill out, bro. It's gonna be here any minute.
Oh,
I've
Arrow
still
also
been
joined
waiting
us.
for this. Like, show me the fucking t-shirt or a hat. Seriously, bro. I've been waiting forever.
Hey, Arrowwolf, we pimped your stream earlier in the show. Gave you some props because I was jealous that your ping was like 1,000 times better than mine. I was happy for you. Anyway, Keegan, we're interrupting you. Okay, so you're part of the community. You got into the game. What are
all
your
the normal
first
hype,
impressions?
all the normal hype that everybody had is this exact same thing. Excited to see like where they're going to go. We can see where it's going to go. Obviously, it's not close to it yet. It's not clean or tight or anything. That's all fine. But I love the direction they're going. It's going to be intense action. I love the camera
stoked.
angle. It's totally
All right, well,
was
okay,
worth
we're going
it.
to talk about concrete things here instead of making everybody
Well, I
happy
mean-
and jerking off about the game.
I mean,
It's great, 'cause
it's
we did
fantastic.
that,
It was
we
a
did
lot
that
of
2
fun.
weeks ago.
Well,
okay?
we
I know.
did, but this
Fine,
is his
it's
first
fine.
chance.
That's great, but
Let-
this is
let-
not his
let-
show.
Let him gamer
is our show.
splooge. Let
We're
him
gonna
gamer splooge.
We're gonna
Oh, no,
talk
guys,
about
guys.
it. Though. It can come through. You mentioned the
Guys.
camera angle.
Oh,
which I
when
agree
I'm
with
not
you.
here, do you two argue?
We will wipe
All the
down.
time.
We'll wipe down the show afterwards.
Ladies,
Let him do his thing.
ladies. Go ahead, Keegan.
Keegan,
That
that
was-
was the camera angle. That's the first thing you mentioned.
Go
I
for
want
it.
to talk about that. Why do you like it?
Oh, okay. I was actually doing a setup before I brought in the stuff that broke everything, my experience. But the camera angle I appreciated because I'm sick and tired of the bird's eye view
I agree.
of these kind of games. You have to have more battlefield awareness, rely on people, have that trust, build your team, and I love that it puts you in the action more, and that to me just brings out a whole new experience.
This is
It's just tremendous.
This is a fantastic thing to talk about. One of the things that actually has been a big topic has been whether they should lock the camera to the direction your character is facing. I mean, it's
Did you notice
one of
that,
those
Keegan?
things.
We talked about it I
Yeah.
think, a week or two ago. No, definitely wasn't a week ago. We didn't talk about anything a week ago. Maybe it was
No.
2 weeks ago when we were talking about how you notice how you can kind of move the reticle around without moving your character, and then until you got a certain radius around the center, that's when you started turning a little bit.
That wasn't as big a deal because you're just run backwards if that's it. So I mean, you're not going to change any of the dynamics unless they're going to make it where 100% is forward and 50% is when you go side to side. Then that would be a huge impact on it. You would always want to run forward when you can. But if you're always running at max speed, no matter which direction you go, then I really don't care that you have that camera swivel.
Well, here's. I don't like it at all. I mean, to me that's the kind of control that you have with a space sim like Elite Dangerous. Essentially, you can move the reticle within the direction you're doing, and until you move it farther out, that's when you start turning. I would love for it to be more FPS oriented, so your camera will always change depending on where that reticle is with the mouse, similar to how Terra does it. And I think
A lot
I
of
think they're
people have
adjusting.
agreed with you. I don't think it's as important.
I think it's very
But-
important. It's super important to get that
But
first experience right.
I'm also okay with, maybe finding a bit of a compromise. Listen,
No.
listen, being able to actually aim a little bit to side and be able to just see maybe, we'll say a 45-degree angle and give you the ability to kind of see a little bit out of your peripherals, but not really. It's one of those things that especially as you're running around, it's very difficult to be able to, I guess if you're able to strafe, which I don't think you can do, that's
See,
the
Thomas
easiest
just
way.
made
That's
it
not,
like Terra, so
just
I'm
okay.
happy.
So our
look,
camera-
I was right. You were wrong. Go ahead, Keegan. What else was what are some of your other first impressions?
But
Shut Valorant
honestly,
up real quick.
either way, it's not going to change anything unless they change the speed of if you change direction and it changes your speed. Nothing, no tactics, no strategy, no nothing is going to change. So I don't really care if they do change it where running backward reduce your speed. Then I think it should be locked.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, it doesn't really matter. So I
Everybody
don't
gets used to it after a while,
Yeah.
anyway. But it does matter. Okay, go ahead. So I'm running you through this, so we can have a conversation. It's more of an interview here, Keegan. So what was your next first impression? You loved the camera angle. How was your lag, or your latency, or your ping?
Lag was
not
fine.
ping, latency.
Well, ping.
All of that was fine. It's just the response times. That is just so obviously just so slow, and
Yeah.
it trips me out. I'm used to a certain rhythm and timing.
Mind if I ask
and it's just not
what state you're coming in from or country? I don't know. I forget if you're in the States or not.
Yeah, I'm in Southern California.
Okay, so you're all the way there on the West Coast.
Mhm.
Just kind
Now-
of curious how it is.
Keegan, where in Africa exactly might you reside?
So you're a prince from
The desert part.
where? No, but really, what archetype were you kind of leaning towards? I mean, did you spend all your time on one, or did you kind of mix it up?
I went into it and played my favorite first, but the response time was horrible, and I couldn't do anything, and that was the Confessor. Loved the idea behind it, but I'll get into the cons afterwards if you want.
Just keep going, man. I'll stop you when you have an interesting.
Then
point.
I moved over to the Knight, and then
elaborate on it.
eventually I went to...
Knight's OP, man. All that
this
control,
is the
tankiness.
but for me there was a huge, I wouldn't say bad experience, it was just an impossible experience because I couldn't remap my keys or invert my mouse.
invert your mouse.
And for
Get
doing
the fuck
something,
off my show.
I know. I think all of my old school habits from like 20 years ago are finally killing me during this testing. But it felt like I was trying to throw with my left hand. It was just so horrendous in the middle of a battle
How
when
did you
you're
learn how to
aiming
play
and
with
I'm
the
shooting
inverted
the
mouse?
ground.
What was your game that taught you to play with an inverted mouse? Back in the day.
God, I think Duke Nukem 3D was the first mouse game. Doom was still just purely keyboard.
That's true. Yeah, I remember downloading Duke Nukem 3D.
So I think that was the first one. I'm not sure, but I mean,
Dude,
yeah, it's
I'm
all
here
about-
to kick ass and chew bubble gum. I'm all out of bubble gum.
Doing something for that long, you're used to it, right? And then during the chaotic battles, I was shooting the ground or shooting the sky, and I was like, this is not helping my team. I would have to literally jump back and wait for an enemy to come towards me and just leave my mouse where it was.
Yeah, that's kind of what I had to do. I was basically running around, recharging my rage, and just healing people. That's the best I could do.
Real talk, what you were doing is running around and dying. Like,
Yes.
well, last time I played, it was like, all right, everyone spawns in, dragon's dead. I was like, holy shit, bro.
No,
like,
it did
I
not
haven't
happen
even
that
locked in.
fast. No, you're lying.
Oh, come on, dude.
Lying.
It's almost like you spawned in a campfire. It was that
Maybe.
fast.
It crit me, dude. It crit me. That RNG, dude, destroyed
Oh,
me.
my God.
So did you? So you played the Knight the most? Is that what you were saying? Because you could have played the Confessor.
All I was able to get is one of each.
Okay.
Oh,
so
no,
you played
sorry,
3
two-
matches. What was
Two
your
with the
best
Confessor
position?
and then one of each.
What was your best position as far as or placement? Placement, I guess.
I think
Better
I was averaging around like 7th.
That's not bad. That's not bad. I don't think. Right.
But
Well,
it's frustrating when I'm trying to do something and I have to like think about you're supposed to push the mouse the opposite direction. You can't do that when
That'll
people
hurt
are just whooping on you.
That'll
or
hurt you.
I'm like, oh, my team is dying and I can't do anything. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, anything else you wanted to add before we get to the Hunger Dome 2? We ain't got time to bleed, and maybe you can, if you want to pop in for the after show, you can have some more comments later. Or
Sure, I'll just sit on the couch until you guys are done.
sweet, we'll do that then. Okay, so all right, guys, we had an update today. Basically, what's going on next. And it's kind of hard to believe, actually, that we've only had 4 weeks of testing. It does feel like it's a little bit longer. We lasted through the end of summer, and they actually delivered on the time period, which is very nice. They said by the end of the summer we'll have some testing, and they did. It's still pre-alpha. It's not alpha 1, so everybody knows it's still pre-alpha. And so what's next? First of all, the testing's going to be ending by the end of the month, so probably another week or so of testing. And then they're going to go into super dev mode. They're going to work 8 days a week, about 20 hours a day. And they're going to pop out back in November for the next line of testing. So I believe it was the Hunger Dome is changing. It's going to be gone. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
It will be similar to Hunger Dome,
yeah.
but it's going to expand. That's what it is. Features and functionalities.
Are we still going to be invited in November?
So
Is it
here's-
maybe
included
not.
now?
So maybe
not.
so yeah. Their plan is to kind of follow the same path
Jump
that they
ahead.
did.
Jump
Yeah, they're going to follow the same path they did for the Combat Test 1 with Combat Test 1.1, where it is we're going to start with pre-alpha and then we'll just invite everyone else whoever else, however many people we need, and then go from there. So
it's probably going to be the
So
same.
in November, it's going to be pre-alpha guys again.
Yep. Here's the line. Here's the quote.
Alpha 1?
Here. Yes, it will still be pre-alpha. Invites will start with pre-alpha testers and then dip into the next group or groups as needed to achieve population targets. So essentially, it's going to be the same thing.
So you're saying there's a chance I can finally play the game. There's a chance, boys.
Woot, woot. Optimization will be a priority to increase server performance and reduce lag, which is great. Hopefully, they've been working on it ever since, and I know they have. And they're going to add a new archetype, the champion, which is a melee bruiser, essentially. And we haven't had any info on what the champion looks like, but if you go to the champion page, if you forget, it's basically a super melee DPS character with a giant two-handed axe over his shoulder.
Dude, and the Hunger Dome, he is going to be a beast.
If he has knockbacks, he's going to be a beast.
Bro, I don't think, dude, I'm just throwing this out there. With the ability that they take away from the Confessor being able to, like, trigger the one ability, the Flame of Truth, and stun to break up other combos, I have a feeling that when this Hunger Dome starts getting inside, right, we're all sitting in the keep, bro, there's going to be 1,000 champions and like, nothing else because everything's going to get wrecked.
Yes.
Well, and first off, I mean, we're going to have to look at, what sort of armor is available in the game, because what you're going to see is, I mean, Confessors are going to get shredded by this champion. I mean,
if he's mobile, he might not be mobile though.
And they did say, champions aren't going to have the mobility of the Legionnaire. They're not going to have the defensive or the control of the Knight. But I mean, if you've got a Knight and one of these champions, man, that's a dangerous combination there. That's what I've come to appreciate with Crowfall is just you can have a combination of two different classes and they could still be really good.
Well, let's not talk about balance just yet, my friend. Let's wait. Here, let me quote what the champion is. The champion is our frontline damage dealing powerhouse. He isn't as defensive as a Knight or as mobile as the Legionnaire. Basically, he probably doesn't have the right to left leap on his right click and the charge. And obviously the Legionnaire runs faster than everybody else. But what he doesn't have in defense, he more than makes up for his raw ability to chew through opponents. If you're looking for a straightforward, unapologetic skull crusher, the champion is the right archetype for you. So I think he's just going to be a big melee bruiser with like bleeds and dots and stuff like that. Maybe Darius from League of Legends, if you're familiar with him. Mm-hmm. So it should be interesting to see what goes on. Now, the one thing I want to talk about is what exactly will be the features and functionality changes to this added to the Hunger Dome. So I'm assuming features and functionality is not going to be like adding stealth and all this other stuff. It's going to be functionalities of the game and the game engine itself. So I'm assuming that's destruction.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we're going to be able to batter down walls or knock down trees or blow up stuff, which might be kind of cool. But what about features? Leaving groups in different groups and stuff like that, being able to UI functionality, maybe being able to remap keys.
I think that the work that they've done on the UI currently is something that they seem pretty dedicated to.
The UI could probably launch right now.
I mean, really though,
it
really probably could. I've seen games launch with worse UI. I mean,
majority of them launch with worse. UI
yeah, definitely, Thomas. Tomorrow, don't forget, send our appreciation to Billy and his work on the UI.
Yeah, Billy's kicking ass.
It's fantastic. So good work so far. If only those combat test guys could get the rest of this shit right.
That's the easy part.
Right.
Sons of bitches.
Right. Easy.
I mean, like other than destruction and maybe some UI fixes and like key mapping, some of the background stuff. Is there any like? I'm assuming, like all the key mapping and all that stuff that's functionality. What kind of features other than destruction are we going to see? Maybe building and placing shit.
No.
Siege engines?
No, not even close. I mean, you got to think. Okay. You got to think of what
Give
what
me
they're.
Something, dude.
What are they working on right now? They're working on. They've talked about 1.1, 2.0. What are they wanting to do? They're wanting to expand. They want to take what they've got and make it big. And so what I'm seeing, you're going to have multiple teams. You might have
larger teams.
Maybe larger teams. Maybe you'll see war bands. show up. Being able to link teams together
I'm
at
sorry,
some
no,
point.
it won't be that. It definitely won't be that because I just mixed up. But focus on larger teams is milestone 2.0, which is after the November testing.
Well, yeah, but they also want to focus on just larger everything. I mean, larger interaction.
4-man teams or 5-man teams, you're saying?
No, I'm saying you take the five 8-man, whatever they end up wanting their teams to be, and then maybe actually seeing them be able to link those teams together, and so
Right.
maybe they'll create a 2-sided conflict, something along these lines, and
You're not
that's
giving me anything concrete.
Bro, you ready for
Thanks.
concrete?
Go.
They scratch the MMO part of it and they make this a MOBA.
No, they make
Okay?
it a
Like
tabletop game
everyone's
with
Hunger
their
Games.
miniatures.
Hunger Dome
and
2.0.
No, it's Guild Wars 1 like 3.0. What Guild Wars 2 could have been, right? Is going to be the quote headline
Lock it
for it.
down.
We're just
Done.
going to run with it, baby. We're just going to have combat. Easy day.
Do it. Just do it.
That's what's going to happen, okay? We're going to
E-sport.
cut the info, we're going to cut the
future.
neckbeards, and everyone like, I want to craft and make all this cool stuff. Like, that's cool. Right on, man. There's also Camelot Unchained. You can check that out. It's a great game. And we are going to play a game where all we do is kill people. Sign me up.
There we go. Done. Done.
So what I expect is I expect to see warbands. That's really the big thing. You're going to see teams going head to head. You're going to see
Nope.
two sides,
Won't do
large
that.
conflict,
Not for 1.1.
open map.
Not for 1.1.
Oh, open. Oh, 1.1.
Yes, man.
Man, what are we talking
Rules
about
will be
1.1
similar
for?
to
It's
Hunger
just going
Dome,
to be.
expanded in terms of features and functionality.
And
I'm reading
come
the
on,
line
why
from
can't we just
milestone
skip?
1.1.
Can't we skip to 2.0?
No,
because
this is the last part
1.1.
of 1.1. My
Oh
friend.
man, they're probably just going to
Val,
not
stop
have
being
it
a
shrink
pussy
down.
and just answer my question.
Okay, so what do we expect to see in 1.1? We're going to see a better inventory system where you're actually able to do stuff. So
That's functionality,
trading. You're going to be able to
Okay,
trade equipment with your
functionality.
teammates.
Putting
There
stuff
you go.
back into a chest.
Yep.
Okay.
You're going to be able to. You're going to be able to
Features.
put stuff into your inventory and
Features.
take stuff out of your inventory.
Features is stuff like destruction.
Features.
I was kidding, by the way. I think
yeah.
people are going to take me serious and be like, Lake
Jesus,
Z wants
yes.
a MOBA.
Man, see,
It's going to
Holy.
happen, bro. I already see it like, oh, that's a real bad
I
idea.
can't wait. I can't wait for the first tweet.
Oh,
where-
that's a real bad idea, boys. Like, no
Crowds and-
shit, bro.
How
and
dare
Crows
you
breaks-
compare this game to a MOBA? It's
Crowds
like
and Crows breaks
video
news
games.
that Crowfall becomes MOBA. Let me just wait to see. It's gonna be there. But no, I mean, man, what are they going to take? They're working on optimization. We're not going to see a massive change in
Functionality.
structure of everything.
Features,
We're really not. Yeah, I mean features. Features. Keep saying features.
Yes,
You might see. You
functionality
might.
is how things work. Features is a new part of the game that you play around with.
I think what we're going to see is we're just going to see a better version of what we've got right now, and then after that, they're going to scrap it and go to the full world.
Lakes, do you have anything to add about features
I'm no fun.
to,
No fun. I
Hunger
know,
Dome?
right?
That might be other than destruction. That's the only thing I can really think of right now.
I really feel like destruction
Yep.
and the way that they're going to link up groups like you guys are talking about. One of the key features of this game is making sure that their systems upon systems work.
But okay, let's segue to Milestone 2.0 because that's what they have listed here. And the first one is focus will be on larger teams, and that's whatever it is beyond. So that's probably December, January, if they follow the same pattern, or 4 weeks on, 4 weeks off type of thing. So focus will be on larger teams. So instead of groups of 3, you might see 4 or 5, or you might even see even more, depending on what they're doing in the next testing phase. They're going to add the Ranger, which is the longest range DPS I think that they've mentioned. Instead of, what is it, 30 meters for the Confessor, or it'd be 40 meters for the Ranger. I think they mentioned that in one of their combat things. Here it is. The Ranger is the first stealth class. We've decided to include the Ranger in the test because she gives us 2 different and very complementary features to test: stealth and the corresponding anti-stealth activities and ranged physical combat powers. The archetype is a unique game style that she is well suited for scouting, laying traps, sniper combat, and leans closer to solo play. Though, to be clear, she will likely need a great team to survive in the Hunger Dome. So the Ranger's coming in and stealth. This is basically the same it'll start with pre-alpha testers and progress through whatever. Apparently Valor had to go. It will not use the Hunger Dome rule set at all, so we're going to get a different map, finally. And target date will be announced sometime after Milestone 101, so we'll figure it out towards once we start thinking about Christmas, and we'll find out when 2.0 starts. And we'll probably have a lot of fancy videos. All right, Lakes, the Ranger, comments. Do you have any?
I have concerns.
Yes.
A lot of my concerns stem off of the targeting ability of the Confessor and the client lag time that should be fixed. But however, something that's a little farther ranged also have that much more time to react to a moving projectile that's created within the screen. So my concern is making that work. And obviously that's going to be a big problem, I feel. Also,
Ranger's probably going to be less mobile, though, because he doesn't have, probably won't have that right-click button that the Confessor has to shift.
It is going to be less mobile, but I feel like if you utilize max range on the Ranger, the possibility of you missing is a lot higher because being able to strafe and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be like your counterplay. Like, yeah, they have more range, but it's harder to hit. So you're going to have that skill gap, and I think a lot of that skill gap right now currently is going to be between client-server lag, and we'll see how that works out. But honestly, the way the cursor is working for the Confessor, I've watched some YouTube videos because I wasn't able to play. It looks good. I mean, I didn't have too much of a problem when I was playing with like 300 ping still trying to auto attack with the Confessor. But I'm interested to see with the farther range and the Ranger and
what about stealth? How does stealth fit in the Hunger Domes?
Dude, I think that stealth is a cool thing per se, but
actually,
stealth, dude,
scratch that, because they're not even going to use the Hunger Dome rule set, so never mind.
I was going to say, like, stealth in general is something that needs to be tested, because that is a mechanic that needs to be perfect for it to work within a PvP game, because stealth can either be too broken or useless. Someone coming out of stealth, if they can 100 to 0, like, it's a big problem. It's a problem that they want to introduce because people love playing sneak attack, stealth, ambushy characters. Problem is being able to control that stealth. Camelot Unchained actually had a pretty cool idea on the way that they wanted to handle stealth. So I want to see how they handle stealth and anti-stealth, because anti-stealth's a big part of stealth.
Do you think it's going to be closer to like a perma-stealth like most other MOBAs, or is it going to be more like Guild Wars 2 where it's like flashes of stealth?
I think it's probably going to be flashes of stealth. And the reason behind that is they haven't really talked about some sort of anti-stealth yet. Mm-hmm. And you can't really have permanent stealth without some sort of anti-stealth.
Correct.
Like, generally, that's the way that it's worked. Obviously, dude, they could recreate the wheel, man, and you could have something that runs around stealth 24/7, call it a day. But I think that stealth may be a possible ability where you can activate and have a set time of stealth, or while you're out of combat, kind of thing. Yep. Like Eve and League of Legends. Like, there's a possibility of several different ways to do that, but I personally I dread the word stealth in games in general, just because it's so hard to make it. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. It can be problems amongst players.
I think how Guild Wars
you have like you have niche players that love to play that style of gaming, and that's totally cool, but it definitely does piss off a lot of people too. And if it's a broken mechanic,
for the most part, basically. So here's what I think Milestone 2.0 is basically going to be. Here's two big hints from my point of view from these 5 bullet points that we got. It's not going to be the Hunger Dome rule set, and it's going to be focused on larger teams. You know what that spells out to me? Siege warfare. You're basically going to get dumped into 2 teams. They're going to have 2 castles, and they're going to go and practice blowing up castles.
Mm.
So what else? What else could that be? I'm speculating here.
Man, I don't see any good reason for them to get into siege warfare right now.
Why not? Blowing shit up. If there's
I think they need to test the mechanic of destruction in voxels, but the best way to do that is to add some sort of siege mechanic in, because you're having people consistently do that. I normally don't agree with Dragon too often. I think that there's a way to test it. I think that you could put a mini siege game in instead of the Hunger Dome. You make it a siege game, And then now you can test destruction within that, controlled destruction, right? So where you have certain things that are destructible, and then they can test their voxels and build from there. Because right now, you put in total destruction testing, and the fact that there's already server-client lag to begin with, and now people have to process the voxels within that, I think is going to be a big problem. So they're going to have to make it minute at first. So we'll see.
Well, Lakes, here's the thing. I think, I think we agree a lot more than you actually think. So, F you, buddy. Second of all, the best game I think they can make is you have 2 castles, whatever size and shape, and you have to get the castle down to a certain percentage of damage, or maybe 0%. Like the first person to knock down the inner tower wins the game, and that's the game. I like that. And you can practice running around in bigger teams, protecting your siege camps or whatever, and maybe siege things spawn at your camp and you got to drag them forward. That could actually be pretty fun, rather than running around whacking on people in the Hunger Dome. Let's make that happen, guys. Let's make that happen.
We'll see, man.
We'll see. So I think, Val, you wanted to bring Mox in, I think?
Yeah,
he's
well,
been hanging
so
out since the
Mox has been hanging out, but I
Did
honestly,
you
I
get a
think
message from him?
I've been talking to him a little bit, but
Okay.
maybe we should hold off.
Or is he a little weird? Is he acting a little strange?
Well, no, it's funny why he's actually in
Is he
the
brown, Michael? Is he
the
clean?
game. You know what? Let's bring him in.
Swing
We'll have fun.
reference? Anybody?
Yeah,
Nobody?
we will have fun. Here, let me make sure.
What does he want to talk about?
Man, who
in the show, you're
cares?
supposed to
Who
say, Mox wants to
cares?
come on and he wants to talk about... This is not the after show, dude. Do not taint my show.
Guys, you're killing me here.
All right,
All
we're
right.
going to end the show here because it has been exactly 1 hour.
Oh, did we
Actually,
get-
5 minutes shy, 4 minutes shy of an hour.
Shoot,
so we're
did
going
we
to end
even
it
cover
here.
everything?
What's that? We covered
Did we even-
2 updates
we covered
and the
everything?
patch notes.
Wow.
So
Pretty good.
We
Good
had
job,
a
guys.
very good show this week. It was excellent. Hey guys, the show next week may or may not happen. I'm going to give it a 50-50. We're going to have to play it by ear that Tuesday. Valor's going to have to be able to get home to host the show, and I hopefully have a cell signal, so I actually can do Skype via my phone from Vegas.
I won't be here.
Lakes will not
Sorry.
be here. Lakes, you will probably not be here for the next couple weeks. Is that correct? safe
Probably we'll assume it's going to be a month and a half.
So, okay,
2
month and a half.
months.
So
Just
we'll
in
be seeing.
time for
Yeah.
the next testing phase.
Let's go ahead and throw it out there. We expect maybe combat test milestone. God, can they just come up with a shorter name? Combat test milestone 2.0. We might be able to get Lake back by that by that point.
1.1, 2.0.
No, 1.0. 1.1 is going to be in November,
Yes,
which is
about
a little, just
5 weeks
about a
from
month
now,
and
or 6 weeks from now. That's a month and a half.
I'm being
when Lakes
conservative.
Lakes is coming back. 2.0 is going to be announced during November,
yeah.
which will probably put it in December or January.
Depends. It depends. So I may be sooner. It depends on how quickly I take care of
Anyway,
business.
guys,
Either way.
next week we'll watch us on Twitter, watch us on the forums. We're going to make an announcement of whether or not we're going to have a show. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Every night, 8:30 Eastern, Tuesdays here on Twitch. Hit all the likes and the everything else, the shares. I appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for the after show if you're watching us live. If not, click onto the other videos. You can hopefully get some constructive feedback. We'll get some other folks in here on the call. And that is it. Thanks you very much, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you, guys. See you next time.